Hello, my dear students. Today we gonna talk about multiplying and dividing rational numbers. We have studied before how to adding and subtracting rational numbers. In the first exercise, he gave me here 4 over 5 multiplied by half, how to multiply both fractions by each others. The first time we multiply both numerators, 4 by 1 over, and multiply both denominators. It will be 5 multiplied by 2. And the result, it will be equal 4 over 10. And don't forget to put this fraction in simplest form. It will be equal 2 over 5 by dividing both of them by 2 or by using your calculator. Again, as the first time, how to multiply two fractions? As the first time, we multiply numerator by numerator. And then multiply denominator by denominator. And don't forget to put this fraction in simplest form. Exercise number 2, he gave me here 5 over 8 multiplied by 0.3 dot. The first time we must change this fraction into, this decimal into fraction form. How? We have studied it before. When we have 0.3 dot, it means by using your calculator 0.333 more times, and when we see the sign arrow, press equal, it will be changed into thirds. Now we can multiply both of them. By the previous steps, we multiply 5 by 1 and multiply 8 by 3. Yes, it will be equal finally 4 over 24, 5 over 24, and it is already in simplest form. Exercise number 3, we have here 2/5 multiplied by 2 and half. How to multiply this fraction by this mixed? The first time we must change this mixed number by using calculator into fraction form. It will be equal, yes, 5 over 2. Now we multiply 2 over 5 by 5 over 2. And by doing the same steps, it will be equal finally 1. What about number 4? Here he gave me decimal multiplying by fraction. As the first time, we must change this decimal into fraction form. It will be, by using calculator, yes, 3 over 4. Now we can multiply both of them, and finally the result, it will be equal 3 over 5. What about number 5 here? He gave me here 4 dividing by 4 over 5. Now we have here the sign divide. When we have divide here, we make more step. Now we put 4 as it and change the sign divide into multiply and find the reciprocal of the 4 over 5. What is the meaning of reciprocal? We have studied before the reciprocal. It means we find the opposite of 4 over 5. It will be 4 multiplied by 5 over 4. And by doing the same steps, it will be equal 5. Exercise number 6, he gave me here 3 over 8 dividing by 1 and third. And I told you before, as first we must change this mixed number into fraction form. And write 3 over 8 as it divided by 4 over 3. And when we have divide here, I told you before, we must write 3 over 8 as it and change divide to be multiply and find the reciprocal of 4 over 3 to be equal 3 over 4. And by doing the previous steps, it will be finally equal 9 over 32. And it will be in simplest form. Now we're gonna talk about the properties of multiplication in the set of rational number. Only multiplication, not division, because we haven't the properties in division. And we have studied it before in the addition. Both of them are the same with some difference between some properties. Let's see. We have here 4 over 5 multiplied by 3 over 8 equal what multiplied by 4 over 5. And what about the name of this property? The first time to find the missing fraction here, we can find it from the first side. The first side here help us to find the missing fraction here. He writes the same fraction 4 over 5 here, so what about the missing? It will be equal 3 over 8. What about the name of this problem? When we change the places of the fractions, you know that 4 over 5 multiplied by 3 over 8 is the same result if we multiply 3 over 8 by 4 over 5. So the name of this property we have studied before. In addition, it will be, yes, commutative. It will be, it's called commutative. What about the name again? It will be commutative property. In exercise number 2, he gave me here half multiply open brackets quarter multiply space equal space multiply quarter close the brackets multiply 2 over 5. And what about the name of this property? The first time we can find this missing fraction, I told you before, from the opposite side. What about the missing here? Yes, it will be equal 2 over 5. And what about the missing here? Yes, it will be half. What about the name of this property? When we have brackets here, I mean if we multiply first fraction half by the product of quarter by 2 over 5. It's the same if we multiply half by quarter as a first and multiply the product by 2 over 5. Both of them have the same result. What about the name of this property? We have studied it also in the addition. So what about the name? Yes, it will be called associative. It will be called associative. Exercise number 3, he gave me here 5 over 8 and he asked me multiply by what equals the same number 5 over 8. We have studied it before. In addition, if we have here the sign plus, we say 0. But here we have multiply, so it will be what? It will be equal 1. In the case of multiplication, we write 1. Multiply any number by 1, it will be the same. What about the name of this property? Yes, it will be called multiplicative identity. It will be called multiplicative identity, not additive. It will be multiplicative identity. What about the additive identity? Yes, it will be 0. But in the case of multiplication, it will be 1. Number 4, he gave me here 3 over 8 multiplied by what? Equal 1. And what about the name of this property? To find the missing number here, because he gave me here 1, we must put the reciprocal of 3 over 8 to find to exist 1. What is the suitable fraction here? I told you before, we must find the reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse of 3 over 8. What about the multiplicative inverse of 3 over 8? It means 8 over 3. When we multiply 3 over 8 by 8 over 3, the result it will be equal 1. So what about the name of this property? Yes, it's called multiplicative inverse. Number 5, he gave me here 2/3 multiply open brackets quarter plus half equal 2/3 multiply what? Plus 2/3 multiply by what? And here he gave me space property. What about the missing here? Yes, when we have here the sign multiply and brackets, as the first time we must distribution this fraction over all these numbers. We must multiply 2/3 by quarter and then again multiply 2/3 by half. So what about the missing number here? Yes, it will be 2/3 by quarter plus figure down and multiply 2/3 again by half. Yes, what about the name of this property? Yes, it will be, it's called distributive. It will be distributive property because we distribute 2/3 above these two fractions. Number 6, he gave me here space multiply open brackets 4 over 5 minus quarter equal 5 over 8 multiply space negative or minus 5 over 8 multiply quarter. What about the missing number here? Yes, the other side help us to find this missing number. It will be the repeated number here. It will be equal, yes, 5 over 8. And what about the first fraction here? Yes, 5 over 8 multiply 4 over 5 minus 5/8 multiply quarter. What about the name? Both of them are the same. It will be distributive also. Follow the set of rational numbers multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Here he asked me to complete the multiplicative inverse of -5/8. What about the multiplicative inverse? Yes, I told you before, we must find the reciprocal. I means we find the opposite of this fraction. It will be equal -8/5. Number 2, the multiplicative inverse of 1 and 2/5. Before finding the multiplicative inverse, we must find the fraction, because this is a mixed. By using my calculator, it will be equal 7/5, and then the multiplicative inverse, it will be the opposite, it will be equal 5/7. Number 3, the multiplicative inverse of 0.6 dot. What about the meaning of 0.6 dot? By using calculator, we must write it in decimal form to change it into fraction form. 0.6 dot, it means 0.6666 more times. It will be equal, yes, 2/3. Now we can find its multiplicative inverse by find its reciprocal. It will be equal 3/2. Number 4, the multiplicative identity in Q. Yes, it will be equal 1. Number 5, what is the number hasn't multiplicative inverse? Yes, I think it will be 0. Because if we find the multiplicative inverse of 0, it will be 1/0. And 1/0, this is called math error. We haven't any number 1/0 or any number over 0 is math error. Number 6, 4/5 multiplied by what? Equal 1. Yes, we must write here the multiplicative inverse of 4/5. It will be 5/4. Finally, he gave me the multiplicative inverse of -3/8 raised to power 0. Before finding the multiplicative inverse, we must calculate it by using calculator, or any number raised to power 0, it will be equal, yes, 1. So the multiplicative inverse of 1, it will be 1. Thanks for your listening. Goodbye in the next session.